What is good, guys? This is Steven with All Talk On, and I'm here again with another cheap, complete, extreme budget build for you guys. Um, I had made one yesterday, but I was really tired from work and I didn't get to upload it. And I go to check the build this earlier, right when I got off work about an hour ago, and it is already out of date as prices have risen again on the graphics card, throwing it over budget and basically making it to where I had to revise the whole thing. So I just threw it out the window and was like, you know what, let's just go to the absolute cheapest that I could recommend for gaming. Because I haven't really, I guess I did that with my 350 build, but I mean, there's a lot cheaper you can go that'll still get you gaming, just it definitely would be questionable on how long it would last and the types of games you will actually be able to play. I don't think there's really too many games you won't be able to play, but I mean, for the most part, you will be limited. I don't own this build myself, so technically I can't speak from personal experience, but judging just from the list of parts that it has in it, I'm guessing that unless you're at 720p, there's probably a couple games that you might not be able to run. Well, you'll be able to run, just not at good frame rates. Maybe if you drop to low settings, you might be able to, but like I said, there's no guarantees with this. But at 720p, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to handle practically any game. So, we're going to get right into this right now. We are at a total of $307.51, $295 plus $12 shipping. So, no rebates included. And if you ask me, it's actually a decent system. It's actually not too bad. As far as I've seen with the performance with the GPU I chose, I have seen some pretty impressive performance on how much that cost. Basically price to performance. But, you know, like I said, it's really cheap. At $300, this thing will still keep up with basically what you would be getting with the console. So, I mean, that's actually not bad. Sorry. So let's hop right into this. The first thing I went with is the Intel Pentium G. Guess what? Guess what, you guys? Coming in with a blindside, 3220. Did not go with the 3258, saying how that is one of the things that has increased in price recently. This thing is clocking in at $54.99 at NCIX, and you know, I mean, it's a good processor. It's on the Haswell architecture. It's basically the 3258 with 0.2 gigahertz slower, and it is not unlocked multiplier, so you cannot overclock it. So you're stuck at that 3.0 gigahertz that this comes stock, but it is the LG A1150 socket, which means that you can upgrade to the 3258 or an i5 if that is what you would like, just depending on which route you want to go. So that's up to you. But I mean, this will get the job done as far as gaming. It's not the most powerful processor. It does struggle with multi-core use, but as far as single and dual core, this is a very strong processor, and for a lot of the games out there today, you will have no problem with this processor whatsoever, even though it is not 3258. But honestly, like I said, the 3258 is basically the exact same thing with a slightly higher clock, and it is an unlocked multiplier. So I mean, you're basically getting the same thing if you weren't going to overclock it anyways. Next we have the motherboard. This is a really cheap one. Hurts me to do it, but with a $300 budget, had to do it. We have the Foxconn H81 MXV. So this is on the H81 chipset, obviously. It is the 1150 socket. It is a micro ATX motherboard. Supports DDR3, 1600 megahertz RAM. You can have a total of 16 gigabytes of that. There is no USB onboard 3.0 headers. Couldn't afford it, you guys. So something we're gonna have to deal with. With $300, I don't think you should be mad. I don't really know too much about Foxconn, and for a few dollars more, you can get a BioStar, but I was already over budget, and like I said, I wasn't trying to keep pushing it. I basically got to the point where it's like I'm not taking any more out of the build. $307. This is as low as I could go. But that has to do with a lot of price increases lately. So next we have the RAM. It is the G-Skill, just regular G-Skill RAM. It does have a nice little red heatsink on it, so it looks pretty cool. It is 4 gigabytes of GDDR3 RAM, 1600 megahertz, 2x2. and a cast latency of 9, so this will definitely get the job done. This is definitely not bad RAM at all. This is definitely one of the parts that you could see in a higher end build and a lower end build, as far as the G-Skill, you know, the manufacturer and the overall type of RAM it is. But I mean, like, you know, it's only 4 gigabytes because that's honestly all I could fit in at $44.99. We're looking at a nice little budget build right now. Next we have the hard drive. I went with a 250 gigabyte SATA 3 gigabit per second, 7200 RPM Western Digital Caviar Blue. So yes, it is very limited on space. It's only 250 gigs, but I do have a laptop with 250 gigs. I have like 1500 or 2200 songs in iTunes, like 6 or 7 games, and a ridiculous amount of programs on it, and I still have like 50 or 60 gigs left. So I mean, you'll definitely be able to fit a handful of things on this, no problem. Especially if you're not like me and you only want games, you'll definitely have a lot more room. Like I said, I have a lot of programs on my laptop running, so I mean that takes up a large amount of my space that I have on there. Along with, I do have a lot of random ISO files and other random things that take up like 6-7 gigs worth of memory. So without those things though, obviously you're going to have a lot more space, as well as if you don't want to have, you know, 10 gigs worth of music, you'll definitely be good as far as space goes for now. Might want to upgrade in the future, but this is only coming in at $21.10 with $4.49 shipping, for a total of $25.59. So very cheap. One of the easier parts to actually be able to fit in the budget. Next we have the GPU. I went with the Power Color Radeon R7 250X 1 gigabyte of GDDR5. They do have a 2 gigabyte version, but remember the 2 gigabyte version is running on GDDR3. So just remember that the GDDR5 is going to be faster. Even if it's only 1 gigabyte, it's a faster speed. So stick with the 1 gigabyte. Now this card, everyone's looking at it, oh, it's only 1 gigabyte and it's a 250X, you know, that can't be good. But believe it or not, it's surprisingly decent for its price, at $79.99 with free shipping from Newegg. And then there is a $25 mail-in rebate on it right now. I would actually suggest going for that rebate. I'm not going to deduct it off the price, but I would suggest getting that $25 back because that'd be very helpful just to have. You could use it to buy fans or something. But basically, I mean, it's, you know, Power Color. It's not bad. It doesn't look too bad. It's a really small card. As far as gaming wise goes, this isn't necessarily the best 1080 gaming graphics card, though it can handle it, surprisingly enough. Mostly around lower medium settings. Now if you drop to 720p, I'm pretty sure you'll be pretty good off gaming at medium and high settings, maybe even ultra in some older games. But as far as 1080p goes, you're going to have to play around with the settings in certain games. I don't think you're going to be on ultra settings. I know you're not going to be on ultra settings at 1080p in Battlefield. That's just, it's not going to happen. At least not at a playable frame rate. You might be at like 10 or 15 frames per second, which, I mean, I don't know how you're going to headshot noobs at that frame rate. It's not going to happen. But either way, like I said, R7 250X 1 gigabyte Power Color. It's really cheap and it is a very good entry level gaming card. Like, I mean, extreme budget entry level. I would consider the 260X a good entry level, but if you're on an extreme budget, this will do. If you can throw an extra, you know, $50 or $40 towards it, the 260X by MSI or Asus is definitely a good pick. Very good cards. Right now the price went up to like $120. That's why I say I dropped it out of the budget, because that's ridiculous. $120 for that card. I mean, it was just $100 the other day, and the prices are all over the place right now. It's really kind of tricky to be doing these builds. But yeah, that's the graphics card. It'll definitely get you gaming, and like I said, some medium and low settings for a lot of games at 1080p, and some games you might have to drop down to 720 just to run at medium and high at good frame rates. I'm saying you can run these games all you want on whatever settings you want. Just if you want to keep 60 frame rates, 60 frames per second or higher, you're definitely going to have to lower some settings, but it will definitely game. Next we have the case. I went with the DIY PC 5823BK. Now, it is a very basic looking case, very standard, does not have USB 3.0. It does have 6 internal bays, which is always awesome for your hard drives. And then it has 4 bays for your optical drives and your fan controller area. And then it has one external 3.5-inch bay, which I'm pretty sure is what they use for like your little micro card readers. But it is at $16.99 with $7.99 shipping for a total of $24.98. Now, I want to mention this real quick. This card has 1 rating, and the guy who rated it gave it 1 star. That guy is a dick. This is a $17 case. You're literally paying $8 shipping. You're paying like half the price of the case to ship it. Like, what are you expecting? You know, like, I want to know what he was expecting to be able to only give 1 rating for a $16 case. I mean, come on now. This case, I've looked on the insides of it and stuff like that, and looked up some unboxings and stuff, and it looks a lot better than like my case from my friend's PC that he spent like $600 on. It looks a lot nicer and easier to work in, and as well as it has like, you know, removable components and stuff like that, unlike those pre-built computers you buy from Best Buy and stuff like that from Dell. So I mean, I don't know why this guy's complaining about this case. You go spend $40 more than, if you know what I mean. You were expecting way too high for how much you were paying for this, and I don't think it deserves 1 star. So I don't think you guys will have a problem with this. It definitely looks like a good case, and for $16.99 with $7.99 shipping for a total of $24.98, this is definitely a good purchase. It is an ATX mid tower, so it does have some space in it, and it does support ATX, micro ATX, and mini ITX boards, so you'll be able to fit all 3 sizes of your motherboards in there, at least the main sizes that a majority of people use. So no worries there, guys. Last is the power supply. We have my go-to cheap budget power supply. I could have went cheaper. Definitely could have went cheaper. But I always have to make sure it's got an 80 plus minimum. As well as I don't like to recommend brands that I don't know or trust. This is an EVGA 430 80 plus certified power supply, non-modular, 430 watts. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and recommend you guys a Logisys 500 watt power supply, no efficiency whatsoever, for $15, because that just seems like a bad idea. I wouldn't buy it, and I don't expect to tell you guys to buy it. If anything, you have, like, if you start having to knock off price, and you've already knocked your power supply down to like the lowest efficiency and the lowest trusted brand price that you could find, you do not knock it off anymore. You'll end up breaking something, frying parts, running into inconsistency issues, as well as just, I mean, it's just a bad time altogether. Not saying that you're 100% sure going to have a problem, but why take that risk for the extra $15? You know what I mean? Just don't do it. So EVGA, I'm actually waiting for my EVGA. I ordered a 750 watt Gold Plus fully modular. I think it's the G2, the Supernova. So I'm waiting for that to come in. Looks really nice. I've seen a lot of reviews on it. Honestly, the amount of bad reviews it had was tying up there with Corsair and Seasonic. All of them were having roughly anywhere from 4, 3, 5, 7 bad reviews out of a couple hundred reviews. So I don't think that there's really going to be anything wrong with the power supply. I just think that, you know, I mean, sometimes people have bad luck, or, you know, just luck of the draw. Sometimes they get a broke down power supply, and it's not always going to be the manufacturer's fault, because EVGA is known for putting out some good stuff. And, you know, we also have to factor in the within the margin of dickhead. Basically, the one guy that's just mad at life because he spent not enough money on something and expected the world. You know, those guys. And basically, yeah, that's that's basically my build at $307, and my crap talk on the one guy who gave a $16 case a bad review. I can't even believe that. Like, dude, what were you expecting? Like, go and buy the crappiest, cheapest processor on the market and expect it to run like an i7. You're gonna be mad. So I mean, but if you buy one of these crappy processors on the market like $20, $30 and you expect it to run like a $20 or $30 processor, you're at least going to give it 3 or 4 stars because it's doing its job. You know what I mean? Or 5 stars, because once again, I think if it's doing what it's advertised to do, it deserves at least 4 or 5 stars. That's how I look at it. If it exceeds that, then it deserves 5 stars and a great little comment underneath it, review. Obviously, if there's some issues with it, dropping it down, a rank every single time I run into a reasonable issue, not just I don't like the way it looks when I touch it. I don't know, you know what I mean? It leaves fingerprints on it. Like, that's stupid bull crap. Don't knock down ratings because it leaves fingerprints on it, guys. But anyway, so that's my $307 build and 51 cents. I don't know. I'm doing my best for you guys right now. I really, honestly, do like this PC. It's actually not a bad price. I mean, like I said, if I wasn't looking to spend what I spent on mine, I definitely would be looking into these extreme budgets just to tie me over until some either better stuff comes out or some, I don't know, cheaper stuff comes out, I guess, to where I could afford a bigger rig, but for roughly only 50 or 100 more. But either way, this is $307, closest I could get it to $300. And this is definitely a decent gaming computer for $300. So yeah, go with it. Go up, go down on whatever you want. Treat it how you want. Take it how you want. You guys can minus this, add that. This is yours to run with. And yeah, don't really have much else to say. And oh wait, the outro. This is Steven with All Talk On, and I will catch you guys later.